So drinking water we know is fantastic for us, but what if I gave you a quick little story about how 4 litres of water is one of the best ways to get your strategy and your plan right? That is exactly what I'm going to do right now and show you exactly how beneficial it can be. So let's stop me talking right now. Let's get into the following. Well, we know that water's good for us. That's a given. That's not some big scoop that you're going to get at the front of this webinar or podcast, actually. And I am standing here with one of these big bottles of water, like very big, oversized. You can probably hear it there. I've just refilled it back up. And so I've got to tell you actually about a scenario that's just occurred, and it has been a very, very good way of strategy, getting the plan right, and to do with this drink bottle here, right? So let me just tell you about how quite a few of my colleagues and friends of mine and that globally have been doing a thing called 75 Hard. It basically is a daily challenge for 75 days, and it is actually hard. It's not just some little, I'm going to commit to a New Year's resolution of not eating chips or chocolate, blah, 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 or I'm going to do this. And we all know the New Year's resolutions last about 6 days. For some people, 3. But the fact of the matter is, look, and we've all got our good stories on the side there about someone who gave up smoking on the 1st of January and etc. But the vast majority of all of those things is absolute rubbish. Now, here's the thing. For many years, I actually felt that we shouldn't need, and a lot of people feel this as well, shouldn't need a particular day or reason to actually stop doing something or to give something up. We shouldn't need to just have a New Year's resolution. And so I never really was one to attest to that. But what I have come to realize over the last few years in particular is some great books out there about atomic habits, and BJ Fogg, and great guy with tiny habits, etc., is if we're wanting to make big changes, have huge amounts of impact, have massive scale in our business, grow our team, etc., it's not the sum of one big thing that has to change. It's actually the sum of many smaller things repeated habitually over time. And so keeping that in mind, if we go back to a lot of my colleagues and good friends have been doing this 75 Hard. And so what it basically entails is you have to do 2 45-minute workouts every day. One of them must be outside. You've got to do a whole bunch of other things. Like you've got to follow a diet plan. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to go on a diet to lose weight, because a lot of people listening to this don't need to lose weight. But it's about following a strict diet. So it might be about your particular protein intake, or it might be you might be completely cutting out carbohydrates, or it might be that you're going to fast to lunchtime 3 days a week and eat etc. You get what I'm trying to say. So they have that in place. They also have, and it's an American thing, by the way, for the guy that put this together, this is awesome. They make you drink 2 gallons of water. And so that for all of us normal people is like, 2.6 or something litres. So you basically aim for 3 litres of water. And then you've got sleep in there. You've got to do a certain amount of yoga and meditation, or some type of meditation, stretching, etc. You've got to do your learning. So it's, 15 minutes of book reading every day. And so there's 5 or 6 avenues of this in place. And look, for me, when I first heard about it, I thought, here we go, another challenge, you do this, do that. But what I've been able to do is watch over many months now several of my good friends and colleagues that have actually gone ahead and done this. Now, some have completely transformed the way their body shape is, their personal life, their exercise routines, the learning capacities, etc. But one of the things that is probably coming out from every single one of them doing this is it's about the mental fortitude and the behavior to actually stick to this and not let yourself down for 75 days in a row. Now, if you don't do one of those things for one day, you actually stop and you go back to day one. So a great example is my videographer in Tokyo, Ken Okazaki. He was on day 58 or 59, around about day 60, and this was about 2 months ago. And he decided that he didn't decide to, but he was actually not eating carbohydrates, and through that time period, and using it to lose some weight, get some better strength gains and body shape and all this type of stuff, which he did a great job of. Anyway, he finished having lunch with his family at a restaurant and had a bad feeling. And rather than checking that beforehand, what he actually did find out was that there was actually a significant amount of carbohydrates in that food, which was going completely against what he signed up for. So he took the high ground and said, no, I broke it. I didn't do it, even though it wasn't his fault. He played above the line and he went back to day one. Now, huge kudos to you, Ken, because that is a fantastic effort for taking complete ownership and playing above the line. So he went and did that. Others have gone on to phase 1 and phase 2 and these type of things. But the big lesson that's come out of this for every single person is they say it's not about weight loss. It's not about, forcing yourself to do things. It's about the mental fortitude and the mental strength to actually go ahead behaviorally and hold yourself accountable to that. Now, all of these things are quite small. 10 minutes of reading. Every single one of us can do that. But 99% of people don't. Everyone can commit to not drinking alcohol, but we don't. Or sticking to a diet plan, or only drinking 2 days a week, or whatever it is, right? All of these small things and small habits are what define someone ultimately being successful or not so successful. I'm not going to say not successful, because you can still be successful without following something like this. But the ability to put the right tiny habits in place to get better outcomes in the long run is always going to pay dividends. And so what I decided to do was actually put this in play a little bit myself. And I wanted to tune up the way I was showing up, helping clients, helping people. And I know that so much of it comes down to, it's my academic background, to know what actually works best for sleep, for instance. To know, and that's another part of this, you track it. I've got an Oura ring on as well, so I track my sleep and my REM sleep and my deep sleeps and my latency and all these type of things as well. And so what I decided to do was actually put this into place. And so I did. And I started it quite quickly. I went, bugger it, I'm going to do it, and I'm quick to implement. So I'm going to be quick to implement, and went ahead and started it. Now, I got to admit, the first day and a half has been really, really tough because simply because of this not so little drink bottle. So I went ahead, bought it. It's like grab the 1 litre drink bottle, fill it up, and know that I need to get through at least 2.5 of those a day. All right, closer to 3 basically. So I'm like, right. So I'm getting through that over the last day and a half. I get into this morning. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm finding I'm peeing like a racehorse. I'm constantly going to the toilet. I'm obviously flushing everything out of my body, which is great. It's good. I normally drink probably, about a litre and a bit of water a day. So 1.2 litres. But all of a sudden I was trying to make these 3 litres and ridiculous. And I physically just couldn't do it. And so what I actually did this morning, I was chatting to Scotty and also to Michael Griffiths. Scotty's part of our Profitable Practice group, our team, and Michael Griffiths, obviously the number one referral marketing guru in the world. And we're chatting and doing a bit of a session this morning and putting things together. And I held it up to have a drink and didn't say anything of it. And the guys made comment about the big 2 litre bottle that I've got. And I'm like, no, this is just a 1 litre. I've got to get through 2 of these. And herein lies the problem. What was actually marketed at the shop as a 1 litre bottle of water is actually a 2 litre bottle of water. Now, you might think that's just me being stupid and I should have realised, and you know what? Maybe I should have. But we all have different shaped bottles. The one here on my desk is a really nice shaped glass one from the Pullman Resorts. Everyone has different weird and wonderful shapes, and some are sturdy, some are glass, and we have all these different ways of putting water and sports drinks into things these days. And so I've got this and I've just gone, yep, sweet, saw the tag, a litre, didn't think of it, grabbed it. And so naturally as a net result, I moved forward and I've been really struggling. Well, when you do the maths on this, quite simply, if I got through 2 of those, then I was already putting 4 litres of water into my body. Now, no wonder I was finding it damn hard to actually get everything else done and to try and do everything else, because every time I'd take, 6 or 8 massive mouthfuls, it would only go down like 1/5. So what I've actually been trying to do, what I've actually been unintentionally doing in the last few days, is actually putting about 4 litres of water into my body. Now, going from 1.2 litres to 4 litres, or just a tad over 4 litres, is not a really smart thing to do, because 1, it just makes you pee a lot. 2, you actually start to feel sick a lot of the time because you're trying to put so much water into your body. And herein lies the whole crux of this podcast. 1 is you need to think a little bit more before you dive into things. We need to actually get the plan in place. Now, I've got rules when I work with clients, and the first one is quick to implement. And that's what I did. I went, bugger it, quick to implement, and away we go. But this is the perfect case where sometimes we just need to take a breath. We maybe need to talk to someone else about the plan, what we're looking to do, why we think we should be doing it, and just maybe double check things. Dot the I's, cross the T's. Because the last thing you want to be doing is trying to force 4 or 5 litres of water into your body when it's only meant to be 2.5 litres. I learned the hard way. I really don't think my body or bladder or anything is thanking me for trying to go beyond 4 litres of water from 1.1 or 1.2 litres that I normally do. And so if we think about this, it's made me stop and look at the whole process of what I'm doing over this little journey. I'm doing a 4x4x48, which I could do another whole podcast on that. Run 4 miles, American style, so 6K-ish, 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. It's basically 2 marathons in 2 days, and it's about mental toughness with David Goggins and that in America and all this type of stuff. And so when we stop and think about tiny habits, and we stop and think about implementing change, and we think about our strategy towards, life, or whether it's business, are you actually just diving in, oh, that looks good, and off we go? Or are you taking the time to work out whether that's right, or the right level, or the right way for you individually? Just because there's a shiny new object, or you need that new toy, or someone did this and it worked for them, let's quick do it as well, might not be the best strategy. It's always going to be best for you to sit back, take heed of what's there, scratch the surface and dive a little deeper, and make sure that you ultimately are putting the right things in place for you at the right time. Because you only need to get one thing slightly off, like I did. All the other parts are good, and they're all beneficial, and it will all drive a great result and a lot more success. But the challenge that you can place for yourself or for your business or your team or your family by getting one little thing wrong is paramount to whether you're going to be more successful or have more challenges because of your behaviors in the first place. So it's been a great lesson for me, and it needs to be a good lesson for all of you as well. Don't just jump in to the deep end. We always say, jump in, burn the boats, go to a new island, burn the boats. So you've got to survive. Otherwise, you're all going to die type of thing. That can all be good. But what if you actually just stopped and had a bit of a double check, got the right people to have a look at what you're doing, what the plan is, what the strategy. You talked out the strategy and plan with your coach or some colleagues or your team, for instance, to make sure you had it right and you didn't oversee something. Because that's where drinking 4 litres of water has been brilliant for me in one instance to learn more about strategy and planning, and a good reminder and a kick up the bum. But it's not going to be the best way to always keep pushing things forward. So guys, don't worry about drinking 4 litres of water yourself to learn that lesson. Learn the lesson now from what I've been reminded of, and you'll get much more success when you put the right strategy and plan into place by taking this approach, not what I've done in the last few days. Hope that helps. I'll talk to you again very soon. Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.